Hey, this is Sam Black with Lotus Petal Burn in Legacy. I'm on the draw against a mulligan, but I'm still not going to keep a no-land hand. This is better, but not great, but I will keep it. This hand is really quite bad. Especially if I draw land. Goblin Guide's the best thing I can play on turn 1. I could probe to try to hit another creature to play off Lotus Petal, or I could hold the probe in case I draw Swift Spear, and because probing after I thin another land is better. I think it's very close, and if I'm going to probe, I should have probed before playing the Goblin Guide. But I actually think it's right to probe now, since I have 8 chances to hit a creature, and since I have mana and nothing to do with it, I would definitely want to spend my Lotus Petal to put another creature into play here. Not a good draw. Now my Goblin Guide's probably getting lightning bolted. My opponent drew and cast a Ponder, and shuffled and failed to hit a land. I sadly did not fail to hit a land. Maybe this keep was horrible. Really can only win if I draw a cruise. Or brainstorm, I guess. So in Modern, I will always crack fetches to thin my deck. In Legacy, because of brainstorm, you generally don't want to crack fetches. However, at this point I have more lands than I can get rid of with a brainstorm, and so I just want to thin my deck with this, and then I can use one of these others to fetch, shuffling away more extra lands. So because I'm so flooded, it's correct again to fetch, even though it usually isn't. And there's some argument that you want to keep multiple fetch lands in play to chain brainstorm into brainstorm, but I think that all I really care about is drawing the first brainstorm in this spot. It's far from exciting, but I might as well get my 1 damage out of playing this Lotus Petal while I have a Swift Spear getting through. These have been used. Alright, that wasn't great. Now I think I'm back around to the point where I need to be able to usefully chain brainstorms, so I'm not going to crack the Wooded Foothills. Sadly, I don't think bolting the Pyromancer really gets me anywhere. Need to just hold this and hope to try and do a card draw spell to be able to just win. Second bolt does not do it. I guess I can bolt whatever creature picks up the Jite, and then hope to draw into Cruise and 3/1 mana burn spells. So I think I just pass. I think I want to hold these in case of Brainstorm. So the Brainstorm into 3/1 mana burn spells instead of Cruise into 3/1 mana burn spells is also an out. Yeah, that's not gonna give me a chance of winning this game. I guess. So my opponent's probably putting Batterskull into play, but I might as well see if that's what's happening. I can pass, and I can bolt whatever's holding the Jite again. And there still exists a ridiculous miracle string of cards if my opponent has nothing that can win the game. But Batterskull I'm just dead to. Alright, so now I'm going to be on the play. I like Mutagenic Growth against decks with Lightning Bolt, but not against decks with Swords to Plowshares, and my opponent has Swords to Plowshares. Eidolon is theoretically good against this kind of deck, although it's worse because of the amount of removal my opponent has, but it's better because I'm going to be on the play, so I think it might be worth bringing in. I like Vortex, and it's reasonable to smash, but I'm not sure that it's worth it. Smash is just better than Destructive already in this case, I think. My opponent could have Lightline, but I don't think I'm supposed to expect that. As far as things to cut, I could cut guide and reduce my amount of creatures, but I don't think that's what I want to do. Given the amount of interaction, Lotus Petal is a little bit worse, but it's better if I'm bringing in Vortex and especially Eidolon. I think I'm just going to cut Rift Bolt. That's the worst card to draw. And I'm just going to bring in 2 Eidolons. This hand I think I can keep. So here I'm going to lead with Probe. In case I draw Swift Spear, then I'd want to play Volcanic, Swift Spear, Petal, Guide. And I'm going to Probe before playing the Fetch because I don't want to play the Fetch because I want to hold the Fetch for Brainstorm. And then there's no reason to Probe before playing the Volcanic. Alright, so my opponent has a Spell Pierce that I might want to try to play around. A couple of forces, a Plow, a Pyromancer. So I drew a fetch, so now I have an extra, so I can use 1 to thin. Did give my opponent a card, unfortunately. And now I suspect my guide will get plowed, though possibly not until my turn. Nope, immediately. Which makes sense because if my opponent doesn't use the plow, I would just pass. And apparently my opponent is maybe afraid of a counterspell. Alright, so here, I don't see any reason not to lead with Brainstorm. And I certainly don't want Volcanic Island. And the other card that I don't want... I guess is probably Lotus Petal because it's going to be hard to resolve the Treasure Cruise anyway. But let me think. Brainstorm will be card in my graveyard number 3. Tarn will be 4. Petal can be 5. Bolt 6. Probe 7. I can cruise this turn, forcing a Force of Will. I don't think I'm in that much hurry. I think it's better to just force Will the next turn. So I'll put Petal back, and Volcanic Island back, and I'll shuffle. Get a Volcanic, and I'll Probe again because I'd still rather cast a creature than one of these burn spells. Nothing has changed. And there's a creature. If I'm lucky, my opponent might force this. which leads to the question of how greedy I want to be. And I think the answer is that I want to be very greedy. I want to cruise now so that I can cruise and bolt if I draw land, and either way not worry about my cruise getting pierced. I did not draw land, unfortunately. Now I have to decide if I want to play Swift Spear and Eidolon or bolt this. And I think the answer is Swift Spear and Eidolon. I could force bolt through Pierce, but I don't really see the point since it lets my opponent cast the Pierce and make a guy, and my opponent likely doesn't have a lot of spells anyway. Alright, now I have to do this. More damage. Not totally sure if this is right. my opponent to Scalding Tarn. Interesting. Double blocking Goblin Guide instead of Eidolon to try to lock me under Eidolon. If that's your plan, what happens if I just resolve Fire Blast? Alright, so my opponent can cast one spell unless it kills Eidolon, and then two spells, or and then any number of spells. Ugh, that's a good one. One too much life for this Lava Spike. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm losing, but let's do what I can. Play this, and then pass and block with everything, and then lose to any removal spell, and also probably lose to just nothing. But my opponent has 5 cards in hand, so I'm more likely to lose to something first. Well, I definitely can't beat this True Name Nemesis, but let's just cast this thing, because I can. Yeah, and I'm dead.